Hi everybody, Cindy the Scrapologist here. Do you have a drawer or a box or a basket or maybe just a whole pile on your craft desk that looks something like this? You've been saving all this beautiful ephemera, but when you actually sit down to make a journal, you spend half your time just finding what you need, digging through everything, pulling it out, and then having to stuff it all back in again? Well, I used to do that too, but I finally figured out a system I love, and it is just gorgeous. So this is one of the systems that I had before, and this obviously did not work. Let's say I'm working on a journal page, and I think, oh, I just want one little vintage label. I have to go through this whole situation just to find it. And you know what happens. By the time I found the thing I was looking for, I've completely lost my creative momentum. I just wanted to make something. I didn't want to spend 20 minutes searching. Here's the other thing. All this beautiful ephemera is just in a bag. Nobody can see it. What a waste of something so lovely and fun. This is exactly what this system fixes. So let me show you how it works. The first thing I started with was one of these post office drawers. Whenever I find one of these at an antique store or a yard sale, I pick one up and look, I only paid $8 for this. So I store a lot of my ephemera in these, and one of these days I'll show you a full craft room tour, and these look beautiful on shelving, and it's a pretty way to store your ephemera. But what I used to do is just throw everything in here, and then if I just needed a single label or something like that, I had to sort through the whole thing. And don't worry, if you can't find a truly vintage postal drawer, I'll share some alternatives at the end of the video that give you a very similar look, so don't let that stop you. So to get started, I just emptied out one of my antique drawers and printed out my new ephemera divider kit, available over on my Patreon, and I set the whole thing up in under a half hour, and now every single piece of ephemera I own has a home. I can see all of it. I know just where it is if I'm looking for something specific, and I'm not wasting a lot of time searching. The first thing I did was I just cut out all of the dividers, and then I just taped each one to a heavy piece of cardstock and trimmed them up again. And by the way, these are designed, of course, to fit my particular bins, but I designed them so that you can just cut off the top label if you want, or you could actually just cut it the height that you need. You could also print it in a variety of sizes. The next thing I did was I just dumped out my whole bin and made piles based on the categories. So the first pile was collage, the next pile was envelopes. I have a pile for journal cards, tags, pockets, die cuts, Rolodex, and clusters. These are all the categories that I'm going to be putting into this one bin, and I'm going to be doing some other categories as well. I'll have an add-on to this kit that will be available to Patreon members, and I'm also going to do a blank one so that you can make your own category if you want. And here's something else I love about this system. I only have 4 pockets. That's all I have. And so now I know that next time I'm looking for a project where I just want to sit and make ephemera for a few hours, I need to make pockets, because I don't want to be in the middle of a journal and all of a sudden have to stop and make pockets. I want to just be able to pull them out of my bin. Before I show you the finished result, I would really appreciate it if you would take a moment to subscribe, like, and maybe even share my video. It really helps out my channel, and it will help other people who like junk journals and bookbinding. It will help them to find my channel as well. Thank you. Okay, here she is. Every compartment labeled, every piece of ephemera in its home. All of it visible, all of it accessible, and all of it just beautiful. And here's what I didn't expect. I've been using more of my ephemera since I set this up because I can see it. I used to forget I had things because they were buried in a pile, and now nothing is buried. Everything is right in front of me, reminding me it's there. That's why we do junk journaling, isn't it? To bring old things back to life. Okay, a few quick tips before I go. If you can't find a postal drawer, just look for anything that's long and skinny and it will do. This is just a wooden box that I found somewhere, probably at a yard sale, or maybe I bought something that came in it. I found a couple of cool old wooden boxes at an antique store. These were very inexpensive. This is another postal drawer, or maybe a card catalog from a library. Another one of these wooden holders. I don't know what they originally were, and just anything long and narrow. I don't know what this used to be, but it's the perfect shape. You can also just get plastic bins from any store, and apple barrels. These little ones are at Hobby Lobby and other stores. I just paint them white and store some of my goodies inside. And I think they look beautiful.